everybody, this is Purge, and I'm going to be doing a Purge Cast a Pub game. This is a game submitted by one of you viewers to my Twitter, and you guys link me your match IDs and a little bit about the game, and this game is going to be good, I hear. So, a couple other announcements. We just announced Moon Duck Studios, which is the new studio that I'm going to be a part of, that we built from the ground up, basically. A lot of really good talent: OD Pixel, Cinderin, Sunsfan, Mott, Zayori. I'm gonna forget like 2 Drascals in there. It's like literally so many people, and they're all very talented. So I'm very happy to be a part of that. And just because I want to make sure that I don't forget somebody, Sir Action Slacks. Fucked up. I fucked up. I just named Sir Action Slacks. Everybody else I named is in there: Drascal, Mott, Purge, Sir Action Slacks, Sunsfan, Cinderin, Zayori, and we have Nikki as well as Marina, or Sage Dean and Marina are helping out with some managerial stuff. So that is the team. I'll link the drop down box down below if you guys want to watch our announcement video. And without further ado, let's hop into the game. And we can watch some Dota 2. Okay, press play here. Now, I am going to intermittently speed this up or slow this down as seen fit. I really need to remember to start doing that earlier. Okay, there we go. Now everything's all smooth and stuff. This is what we needed. Alright. So, players on the Radiant team. As I sit back into my chair, this will be good. We've got Paco playing the Ogre Magi, Call P playing Vengeful Spirit. We've got Paul91MC playing Tidehunter. Marcus Kush is playing Huskar. And we have Font Color, =, begin quotes, hashtag 00FFE1 something. That is the Doombringer. Oh god, he almost broke the game. So hashtag 00FFE1 end quotes is greater than Levi. So yeah, that's him. On the Dire team we have EG under NRT underscore capital V playing the Troll Warlord. Drab Giamatti is playing Lion. Jeff Barilla is playing Leshrac. F1-115 is going to be playing the Earthshaker. And Tommy Thomas, a great name, is going to be playing the Lifestealer. So that is all the players in the game. Let's take a look at some item builds and some lights. Oh, we should probably slow the game down a little bit, huh? We have a dual offload. Where does he get this cosmetic from? What the heck? Did they update the Tide icons? Looks like they updated the Tide icons. These are beautiful. These look really cool. I guess the Tide icons were... like, they were stylized before, but they didn't look really cool, I would say. So I kind of like this upgrade. There's a dual lane here of Ogre Tide, and I think they're actually going to get a kill here. It's a little surprising. Actually, what they need to do is let Tide go first, because he's got boots now. That's a dead hero. Oh, what a 6 stun. I can still do this. If you... Oh, wow. Okay. If he would have popped his Clarity earlier, they could have gotten the kill, because he could have gone for the second Gush, but that would have costed him a Clarity. I don't know. That's a waste of a Hex, that's for sure. That's not worth it. You got like 4 right clicks in. Saving your mana is a pretty big deal in the early game. If you guys haven't learned this yet, your mana pools are very limited in Dota 2 in the early game, and if you make mistakes like that, oh man. And he just wasted a Clarity Potion. He's basically out of mana for the entire laning stage, and he's kind of messed up his entire laning stage because of this. It's such a big mistake. Lifestealer having some troubles, doesn't actually... What the heck do they open? They upgrade every single icon when it's missing? Open Wounds is now a new icon. Oh, is this just a... This might just be based on the set. I'm not entirely sure, but... looks like it is, because the set is very like this. I'm going to assume that's just a set-specific icon change. I'm going to miss the First Blood, because that's what I'm like. A dual lane of Ogre Magi and Tidehunter. Don't really like it very much. It kind of works, though, because they're both really tanky. If you are going to do a dual offlane, you need at least one tanky person or one core that can be the focus of the damage, and then you can have a support to back them up. But in this case, you have both an Ogre and a Tide together. And I've actually been playing a lot of Ogre lately, whenever I play support, and he's actually still a very, very good hero. And in fact, I still think he's actually relevant in the meta if you want to play him, because... his survivability is just so stupidly high that he works against a lot of the burst heroes, like Lina, for example. Like, if a Lina combos an Ogre, she has to use her ultimate. There's no other way around it. So you definitely have the potential to just kill him, or at least, like, absorb a lot more damage. Excuse me, keep almost burping 8 like an hour ago. He also has really high base armor, which is nice, and there are a couple of carries that are very physical damage reliant that are popular, and countering that is good. Now, I wouldn't say Ogre is amazing versus a popular hero like Leshrac, but I think he's pretty good against a hero like Bloodseeker. You can disable the Bloodseeker on a pretty low cooldown. I think as you get multicast, it also removes or lowers your Ignite or your Fire Blast cooldown down 6 seconds, which puts it at 6 seconds. So a 6-second cooldown against a hero like Bloodseeker is pretty good. Plus, if you get an Ags later, I think it's quite good. So I really like Ogre Magi. I still think he's relevant, just he doesn't get picked much. Again, he is a melee, but he has one of the natural tendencies of having just so much freaking armor that you can actually just... It doesn't matter that you're a melee support. You just hit your opponents and it's all good. Kind of like this. See, he's tanking tower and he, might die. If he de-aggroes, he's going to live. He has de-aggroed. Nicely done by Paco. Paco, no! Paco! He de-aggroed nicely, but his team didn't stay around long enough. That was a bit of a mistake. But Lion actually got very little gold for that, 139. The reason it was only 139 is because he was not in AoE, basically. So, despite him dying, he doesn't get the full AoE gold. AoE gold is really important right now, and the way that it works is that if somebody dies... If you kill somebody, you get gold for killing them. But if you're not in the AoE nearby them, you get much less gold. There are some heroes that might excuse this, such as like Zeus maybe, or Invoker. But a lot of the gold has transferred from being about getting the kill to about being in the AoE. And this is one of the buffs to supports that happened. And it's really significant because getting gold is more so about being close to your opponents than it is about you getting the kill. So in the case of the line kill, it was absolutely still worth it for Ogre to pick that up. Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna yawn a lot. I didn't sleep that much last night. We had to wake up early to do the Moonduck announcement, so here I am. Huskar versus Lesh. I actually kind of like this a lot. Oh, he should have dunked there. That was a kill, 100%. There's no way. If he just dunks, he kills him. Please dunk. Please dunk. He was so dead there. He doesn't even have mana. And you're a Huskar. I mean, yeah, there's creeps and stuff, but... You got a Helm Iron Will. That was the easiest kill ever. I do kind of like this Huskar versus Lesh, though, because you resist almost all the damage that the Lesh does. His Lightning Storm isn't a big deal. It does slow your movement speed, but it doesn't stop your attack speed or anything. So I feel like as long as he doesn't get a lot of levels of Diabolic Edict, you should be fairly safe. If I don't know if I would actually end up getting more levels of that early, but I feel like the level 1 is not going to do anything to the Huskar, really. Kind of a weird lane matchup here, and you can tell this is a fairly low MMR game. I'm not sure what this one was, but the fact that he went to go chop top rune... Okay, he's actually just like, I'm ganking. A little peculiar, but if he dunks the Lifestealer, that's a dead hero. He's going to have Rage at least, so he can remove the slow. They're going to see the Huskar right now, but things are looking kind of bad for them. Oh, this looks like a really good save. Alright. So this rotation's kind of good, but I don't really like rotations this early. If you're a mid player, yeah, he's got level 6 already, so he's all good in that sense, but he just left the mid lane in a lane where he could have beaten the Leshrac, in my opinion. And yeah, he got a kill out of it, but he wasted a lot of time, and now it's also reducing the farm of his allies in the lane. And yeah, you can push the tower, but pushing towers this early is not really something that you want to try to accomplish, because at least now with the heroes they have, you have to, if you want to... When you do pushing, you have to make it organized. What the hell is this? He's now TP'd to the bot lane to cast Inner Vitality on his ally Doombringer and now farm the bot lane. Like, he basically just completely gave up on his lane, and there's nobody there now, which means Leshrac is able to guarantee his items so much faster. And this is just absolute Dota basics, something that that doesn't really take a whole lot of high-level understanding to get, but... I mean, I did this as well. There's periods of time where I'd play mid and I would feel like I didn't gank enough, and then all of a sudden I would gank way too much. And then now I'm at a position where I feel like my ganks are more appropriate. But this Huskar here is completely misplaying his lane because he's not maximizing the gold that his team can get. Like, yeah, he's got his team a kill, but he's not maximizing the gold. And that's because he could have just stayed mid, maximized his farm, maybe kill the Lesh. Yeah, gank once in a while to help out your other lanes. But to basically go top lane, get a kill, and then TP to the bot lane, and then push the bot lane, it just doesn't make sense. Because then for somebody to farm the mid lane, they're going to have to either TP mid or walk there. So, like, you should almost always return to the lane that you were previously in right after you ditch it. In most cases, that's usually what you do, unless you're fearing the gank, in which case you will go jungle instead. So it's really weird for the Huskar to move around the map like this. He probably feels good because he's gotten a kill, but his CS is stupidly low at 17 minutes. Obviously, this is I would guess this is anywhere from a 2k to 3k game. He should have a very easy kill here. Oh yeah, that's a dead kill. But he basically could have done this consistently just by being in the mid lane with Burning Spears and Berserker Blood. Would have been pretty easy to do. Yeah, he's getting stuff done, but he should have been sitting in the mid lane. He could have really high CS while also getting a lot of hero kills. You can get away with both of those things in a lot of cases. Let's see, get this dunk off. Oh. No. So, if you're not efficient, it's limiting your team's ability to farm in the late game. His net worth is 3k right now. It could probably be 4, almost 5k, if he actually did really well. I'm kind of making those numbers up. I don't actually look at net worths that often from the map, but it's like a 9-minute armlet that's kind of slow, in my opinion. He could get a little bit faster. It's not that expensive of an item. I don't know, maybe shave a minute or two off. He could get a little bit faster. And again, he does the same thing. He shifts over to the top lane. What's the purpose of this? Yeah, he's got an armlet, and yeah, he's going to be able to do stuff with it. Maybe and this is like the only rotation he's made that I actually feel like is relevant here. And that's because he's going to get something out of it, and he knows he can get something out of it. By having the armlet, he basically adds himself an extra 25 strength, which is about 500 HP. He massively increases his damage by like 40 for a very inexpensive, or 60, sorry, for a pretty inexpensive item. And they basically just can't kill him because he's got 3 levels of Berserker's Blood. Like, look at this. They're using. He should just be hitting. I have no idea why he's not just killing. That's a double. He just got a double kill. If he actually was attacking. Now he goes. Come on. Oh, if he dies, I'm gonna be so upset. Oh my god. Oh my god. So that was poor game sense by the Huskar. That was pretty much the Lion and the Earthshaker using everything they had on the Huskar, and it put him down to like 40% HP. All he had to do was just start attacking them, and he would have killed them each in about 5 hits, something like that. Because each Burning Spear does a lot, and you need to understand the strengths. Like, the only thing that kills Huskar in the early game here, it's not even Lifestealer that much because his items aren't that high. It's probably Troll because he hits a lot faster. I would say like either Troll or Lifestealer with the ultimate coming off could definitely threaten him or kill the Huskar. Nobody else can kill him at this point, though. Maybe if Leshrac had 4 levels in Diabolic Edict, they could do it as well, but that's literally it. Not much else is going to kill him. That was kind of cool. Alright, so now things go pretty well, but that should have been a 5-man wipe. Like, this is probably, I don't know, somewhere in 2k, I would guess. I really don't know, but I would guess somewhere around the 2k mark. At most, low 3ks, or at most, like, 3k. This is definitely like a 2 to 2.5k game, I think. I would assume. Based on the CS totals. All these players basically have ways that they can win the game for themselves, by the way. Good skill builds and item builds are really important. Vengeful Spirit should have her nether swap. For example, she shouldn't have a Ring of Aquila or a Ring of Basilius. I don't think this is a good... I don't think that's a good item to have for a support in the early game. It's a very passive and slow way to gain mana. Yeah, she doesn't have very good mana gain, but you can replace this Ring of Basilius by having a Clarity Potion and by having... Where's the Ravage? Clarity Potion as well as a Ring of Protection to turn into Tranquil Boots. Raiding team is just kind of owning right now. They definitely have the better early game, I would say. Until they get blinks on Earthshaker, Leshrac tanks up a little bit, and Lion gets a blink, they're going to be much weaker. So good on the Raiding team to move around and use their advantages. So yeah, maybe I should stay on topic a bit more. The rotations of the Huskar, they got some kills, but they were definitely a bit weak. In terms of the other areas, you should definitely be hitting. Oh, what are you doing? It's a good dunk. And now Lifestealer dies. Okay. Oh, he died to a range creep. That's embarrassing. Oh, is this guy gonna get a double kill? No. Okay. Alright, goodbye, Line. Line's playing pretty well. I think Line's the best player in this game. Maybe. He's got really good warding knowledge. I like his wards a lot. Oh, this is gonna be a big stone. Nope, never mind. I don't think... Alright, maybe he can get it. Well, he's gotta throw a slow. Alright, he messed up bad. So the early rotations were pretty good, but such fails. It really was. There's so many fails everywhere. Early rotations were a little bit optimistic, basically. Oh, that looks like a dead hero. You swap. You just swap. Oh, actually, that Fissure saved him. Never mind. He might die now. Ooh. Okay. Alright. I would love for the Doom right now to be like, Leshrac is OP and just type that in all chat. I would love that. Whenever I cast games at this skill level, I feel a little bad because to make it enjoyable, I either have to go full instructional or I just make fun of the players for being bad. But that's not very cool. So I'm going to try to just focus on the educational aspects if possible and not to rag on him too hard. Oh, that's really bad. He really needed to use Rage there. Could have stopped both the dunk. Actually, does it slow them through magic immunity? I don't remember if it slows through magic immunity. It won't do damage, I'm sure. But it may... This is a really weird skill build. Like, Huskar is actually owning this game, but he could have actually like 50 more CS than this. You can always farm while ganking. The best way to do this, in my opinion, the safest way to rotate efficiently, after I criticize the heck out of the Huskar for his inefficient rotations, the best way is to get your core items in the mid lane, and that's usually Bottle and Boots. And then you fly yourself out of TP Scroll, and you wait until a fight happens that's close to a tower, and then you teleport. Or you back off from the mid lane, you hide like right here, and then you teleport to the top lane to go set up for a kill on the safe lane, like here. That is the safe and fast way to initiate. So you guys have to remember, if... Ooh, oh, that's a Ravage. He really needs to turn on Inner Vitality. It'd be really bad. Oh, he actually died to that? That's actually incredible. This line is owning, dude. That was a nice fissure. What the hell? He's got a blink already? Alright, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, good rotations. Efficient rotations. If you rotate and you get nothing out of it, which is going to happen against good players because they're going to see you coming, your path is going to be obvious. Like when the Huskar is like, yeah, I'm just going to go stroll the top lane and walk through the river and then just push the lane. Like, what the heck was that? That's very low chance of succeeding. If he goes this way, there's a chance that all of his enemies will just show up right here and see him coming with the ward. So if you rotate and it's inefficient, what that basically means is you have either a high chance of it not succeeding, or you're wasting way too much time walking there in a lot of cases. So that's why you see a lot of pro players, they don't rotate that much out of mid lane. They just sit there for a very long time. It's not because they don't want to gank, it's because it's safer to do that. If they just sit in their lane and they continue to get last hits, they are guaranteeing farm if they're not getting ganked. Yeah, they will gank sometimes, but they don't want to do it consistently and all the time like this Huskar has done because, yeah, it's got him a lot of kills and a lot of assists and all that good stuff, but it's also severely limited the items that he's progressed through. He's like owning this game in terms of KDA, and all he has is an arm and the helm of the Dominator. I guess that's pretty darn good, but he could have more. He could have something else finished at this point that would be a little more incredible. So, rotations and rotation efficiency is really important, especially in the mid lane. The other lane that's most important is, I would probably say, support. Carries will spend almost all their time farming, so I guess it's important for them too that they don't stand around. Like, do they even have a carry? I guess it's Doom. Doom's been farming, he's been getting a lot of kills, so he's fine, but a lot of carries sometimes will take an early advantage and they'll transition into ganking and they won't be efficient about it and then they'll get behind. So if you're ever playing like a semi-carry, basically any carry I guess, if you're inefficient with your rotations and you're inefficient with getting your ganks off, it can really limit your gold gain and put you in a place that you wouldn't have been in if you would have just farmed instead. But that also comes down to game sense. If your game sense is really good and you go battle and you outplay your opponents, then you're going to kill them anyways. So sometimes players will just say like, wow, I roamed all game and I got a lot of kills and does it even matter? Well, he actually doesn't have Ravage yet. There it comes. He's quite possibly dead though. Alright, this is not what you want to do. Oh, wow. This game is actually so close. Did he just Finger of Death a Huskar successfully? He's still only got 3 levels of Berserker's Blood. That may be why, actually. 3 levels? I've never seen a Finger actually kill somebody. And before Echo Slam killed somebody, and that's magic damage too. That blows my mind. I think that 4th point of Berserker's Blood is actually really... He really needs it. So yeah, your rotations are really important because it completely changes how much gold gain you get. Like I said before, you can just outplay your opponents while you're roaming like crazy, and if you do that, you win the game. But if you're playing against people that are better than you, you're going to lose games. Or if you make too many mistakes, you're going to lose games. So you might say like, well, this guy's kind of outplaying his opponents, but not really. That's because his opponents are bad. Is the issue? Like, no, having good game sense is not about having good game sense. Having good game sense means you have better game sense than your opponents. That is literally what game sense means. It's not about being good at Dota. It's about being better than your opponents at Dota, and that is all it takes to be able to outplay them. So if you ever have a mismatch in MMR, you can tell like, wow, these guys are terrible. They're playing horrible, and that's because they're not punishing you for your mistakes. And whenever you do stupid stuff, they're not punishing it correctly, and they're also not doing the right things offensively to counter you. So there's a lot of things that go on in a typical game of Dota 2, but it all comes down to skill and player matchups. I have no idea why the hell he bought a Maelstrom. That is quite possibly the dumbest Doom item I've ever seen. I guess he can farm with it fast, and it's just not good though. He needs an armor item pretty early usually, and mobility item is really good. His agility gain is atrocious, 0.9 per level, so I guess the attack speed is kind of good, but I would never buy a Maelstrom against a lifestealer because when he rages, he doesn't take bonus damage from that, so I think that's a mistake. I guess a Mjolnir is hypothetically kind of good against the Leshrac, but that's about it, I think. He somehow missed everybody with his fissure. Pretty good. That's good. A very good miss. What else we got? Mech on Vengeful Spirit. Don't recommend it. Mech is a great item to get, but as a Vengeful Spirit, there's a lot better items you can purchase, such as Urn of Shadows is really good. Magic Wand is absolutely required. If you get a mech, especially on a Avenge like this, who hasn't really fulfilled their mana problems, like, this is a misguided way to deal with her mana. So, again, she bought the Ring of Basilius. It gives her an extra 0.65 mana per second. But very often one of your cores will buy a Basilius, and in this case Doom actually has one, so this one that Venge has only gives her 6 damage and 1 armor. So it's pretty wasted as an item. You don't really need 6 damage as a Venge. If anything, you'd want to get stats, because then your Vengeance Sword does more damage. That makes more sense. But by going this build, she's really limited her mana pool. Even if she completes her mech, she's not going to have the mana for it. This looks like a really good fight for the Radiant, except for Pulse Nova did a lot of damage. Oh, it looks like they're still going to be fine. Alright. Oh, okay. Alright. This guy's doing his best to own the game. Run away. So if, like, this is a very, very weak way to gain mana. This item is literally made to slowly gain mana over a very, very long time, and that is not how supports operate. Supports operate in more bursty environments where they almost die, but they live. They start a gank, they cast all their mana pool, and then they maybe disengage, burst mana themselves back up with a bottle or a magic wand or something like that. Like, a Basilius is not the right choice. For a carry, this makes a lot of sense. Carries don't have time to just run back to base. It's not efficient for them. They want to stay out on the map and they want to continue farming. So Basilius, which naturally upgrades to an Aquila, gives them some early game burst damage, gives them a little bit of all their stats. It's a luxury item. A support can't afford this. So this should be a wand, this should be an urn, this should be a magic stick. Any of those items would be better than a Ring of Basilius. The extra armor is great and all, but her armor gain is already really good, so I don't think it's that big of a deal to have. So yeah, this is pretty inefficient basically what she's done. Like, look, she just casted Wave of Terror. That cost her 40 mana. That's a huge percentage of her mana pool, and it's not really coming back that fast. So once she gets mech, that's going to cost her 225 mana, or is it 250? God, I don't even remember. It is 225. That's a huge percentage of her mana pool. Comboing that with Nether Swap means 225, 150. We're getting close to 400 mana right there. She's not even going to be able to stun in addition to that, and that is not okay on a support at all. Yeah, she could Shred Switch to Int, but still don't recommend it at all. I really don't think Mech is the item to have on a Vengeful Spirit. There's much better heroes. I would either put it on Ogre Magi, that's a possibility, or you would put it on Doombringer. Doombringer is actually a very good mech carrier because he's got amazing int gain. Okay, maybe not. 2.1. It's actually pretty mediocre. It's alright, but it's not that great. But you very often do buy items that increase your mana pool, either with Shiva's or Aghanim Scepter, both of which increase your mana pool by a lot. So This hero can actually afford to use it. He usually is going to have to go, what's it called? Arcane Boots, which actually might not be bad right now because he could just upgrade those to Guardian Greaves and give himself a protection against Silence and some other disables. So Guardian Greaves might not be that bad of a pickup on Doom. Maybe I'll try that in a pub. Just do jungling Doom, the old way that Vici Gaming used to play it. Doom is still a good ability. Doom as a hero is maybe not popular. I think he was one of the heroes that actually just wasn't picked at TI. And part of the reason is just that, you know, his hero is, it's just, like, not that amazing. Oh. Doom is obviously a really, really good skill to have, but it's not always the right choice. There's a lot better cores than him right now, basically, that can farm better than him, that can solo their lane better than him. He's going to work in pubs just fine, and Doom is still a great ability, but the reality is that it's very difficult to blink Doom people right now. They increased the cast animation on it, so it's very easy for people to like blink dodge it or avoid it in some way. So it's part of the reasons Doom is just less popular. So if I was going to put a mech on this team, I would definitely put it on the Doombringer. You maybe could put it on the Huskar if Huskar went Guardian Greaves. Whoever basically gets the mech should go Greaves, in my opinion. That'll also make up for Doom's low armor pool, and it'll excuse me, and it'll also make up for his slightly bad survivability. So, and his mana pool would be big. You can cast a lot of spells, all that good stuff. This game looks kind of over, honestly. Like they are just so far ahead in the early game. It is like incredible. Like these guys just haven't been able to farm that much is the problem. And one of the mistakes is that the Troll's farm is slow. If he was able to get something like a BKB, then he'd be absolutely fine. That was a really good stun. This looks pretty bad for them, especially because Ravage is gone. And now Lesh just kind of has to stand in the middle of them and they all die. Which is going to mean his gain is going to be really high. Yeah, they actually just like 5-man wipe them. You got to be really careful not to do that because then things like this happen. You get a Rax and then all of a sudden you lose a 6 to 7k gold advantage because they were literally all alive for that. That is a huge mistake for them to die like that. They should have killed the barracks and they should have retreated immediately. Like things like this are just completely game losing. See how long it takes for that to update, but eventually we'll see a swing down that basically gives up. Like Lion now has a Glimmer Cape. This guy's almost got an Aghanim Scepter at 26 minutes. There's actually so many deaths happening in this game. I don't know what the Leshrac Spine. Probably going to be a BKB. But the main problem with the Dire team is, like I said before, they're just not strong early. Part of this is because Troll Warlord is not able to farm very fast, or this guy isn't at least. The hero can farm very, very rapidly, but part of the solution is by buying a Quelling Blade. You need to purchase a Quelling Blade to make Troll a fast farming hero. And that mostly comes from jungling, basically. You jungle much faster when you get a Quelling Blade. Dead. They actually got racked at 26 minutes, though. That is such a big loss. It takes so long to kill creeps now. It costs a whole lot of gold. Ogre actually picked up a Bloodstone. I don't like this at all. This should be an Aghanim Scepter. It's kind of a cool idea, but it's not the right idea. Oh, he does get a slow off, but Troll's pretty naturally fast. Oh, he should be on melee range here, or melee. He'd be running 40 faster. The Bloodstone isn't really recommended at all. I don't think this is the right choice. It should be an Aghs. After Aghs, if you want to get a Bloodstone, if you're having mana problems, that's great, because Ogre does have some issues in the late game with mana pool if he's casting his alternative Fire Blast, and that's because it removes 60% of his current pool. So that's a case where it's good, but in most cases Bloodstone is not the item for Ogre Magi. Maybe if you're playing like mid Ogre that would be okay, but I just don't see a lot of solutions where it's right. So Venge will be initiated on, I guess. They're not all here though. He actually just healed the Huskar, that was pretty cool. Now this fight looks really good for Huskar, I think. Alright, you got a triple wrap, that was good. He needs to turn this Armelon, he's gonna die. Wow, he actually lost. I'm really surprised about that. I think Radiant could have won that team fight if they just played a little bit better, but the Huskar is not quite target acquisitioning correctly, and he's not just doing the damage that he needs to do. Do we get a mech out? We also didn't get a mech out on the Vengeful Spirit. She just kind of died, so they're wasting a lot of gold and value there. Like, regardless of how big your advantages are, it still comes down to team fighting properly, which is the reason that game sense is king over everything. Literally, if you just are good at recognizing, I don't know, I might make a guide for like, this is why you're bad at each MMR level someday, but at this level, the most important thing is using your skills correctly and getting value out of your hero. Like, it doesn't even matter if they have bad teamwork, if they're bad at farming, blah blah blah. You can literally just go up at this MMR just by team fighting properly, by getting the most out of your hero. Basically by attacking when you should be attacking and running when you should be running. That's pretty much what it comes down to. That's game sense right there. And that is the main reason why some pros are just so much better than other pros. Obviously the really high level mechanics helps a lot as well, but having the game sense makes a big difference. So still Bloodstone on the Lurga Magi. He was able to heal his core in that team fight. That was kind of cool, but this doesn't look safe. The item I've actually been buying on Ogre lately has been Glimmer Cape. Actually, the item I've been buying on pretty much every single support lately is Glimmer Cape. I've been trying to replicate the method that Nuts and, or War Nuts, sorry, and who's the other one? JRX have been playing lately. And that's just getting a really fast Glimmer Cape on whatever hero they're playing because it counters so many things. Basically turns any carry or any support that they're playing into a super defensive support to save allies, and I think that's a really good thing that they can do. I like the Shiva's pickup on Doom. It's a great item to have, especially against heroes like Lifestealer and Troll in the early game. It reduces their attack speed by 50 or something ridiculous, like that 45. That is so much attack speed reduction. It's actually an incredible skill. He's also got the perfect creep. The pack leaders, or the Alpha Wolf basically, gives him a 30% damage bonus, and it also gives him a 20% chance to crit for double damage. It is a very good creep to steal. This is pretty much equivalent to Juggernaut's crit, and I think it's equivalent to his level 2 skill point crit. So very good ability here on Doom to make him do more damage. I still think the Maelstrom's a little bit bad and unneeded, but whatever. He's purchased it. See what the Ogre picks up next. It's not a bad Glimmer Cape game on the raiding team. I think I would like to see some Glimmer Capes. Force Staff on Venge is pretty good, but this guy still needs a wand. You cannot have a mech when mech is this expensive in mana and not have a wand. At the very least, he should have a magic stick. And I don't know if anybody has a magic stick. There's literally one magic stick on the raiding team, whereas the Dire is carrying a lot more. And these guys are obviously paying more attention to builds, at least smart builds. There are times when you want to shave a wand out of your item build, but on a support, almost never. It is by far one of the most efficient items you can have. It's a 465 gold item. It gives you 4 strength. A bracer is 6 strength, and it costs about 50 gold more, 75 gold more, 70 gold more, something like that. It gives you more agility, it basically gives you more agility and int. It gives you less damage, obviously, but magic wands are just so good. It's like meching yourself, basically, when you use a 15 or 17 charge wand. Better than that. It's much better than that. Maybe that's not true. It's about the same. It's about the same. 17 charge wand's about the same as meching, getting meched, so. Is that value right there? Mech costs 2,300 gold. If you have a magic wand with 17 charges, it gives you basically 2,300 gold value. Not to mention the thing just damn well gives you 4 strength all the time. It's just such a good item. Wands are one of the best things ever. Ag's up on Earthshaker now. It's pretty much just looking at his opponents. This guy just rushed a refresher. That's pretty crazy. You should definitely build a Blink Dagger first, in my opinion, but this will be pretty strong for him. The problem is that his mana pool is actually terrible here. I'm very surprised it's so bad, but can't really go do Warden like that, especially when this is like a bad time to ward. I talked about it in the last video I made, or 2 videos ago, but you can't put wards down when your opponents are alive in most cases, especially when you saw a bunch of them mid. It's absolutely not okay to do that. The better move would have been moving. Well, first of all, he could approach with Glimmer Cape. Especially with a blink and a glimmer. He can cast Glimmer on himself here, and by the time he gets to here, he'll be revealed. Or you can activate Glimmer here, and by the time to here, his Glimmer's revealed, plant the ward, and then blink back to safety here. Would have been the right move for him, I think. I think the reason that Tide's mana is so poor right now is because nobody ever gets Refresher at this point in levels. And yeah, he's got Arcane Boots, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He'll cast 225 to cast. He can use Arcanes after to give him 135. So that basically means, yeah, he'll be able to afford that, I'm sure. And then 400 here. Yeah, he can double Ravage. It's pretty close, though. He has to Ravage, Arcane Boots, Refresh, Ravage. That's the only way it's going to work. Oh, he gets 2 Arcanes out of it, that too. That's 135 times 2. There's also no reason for them to push. Nicely done by Lesh. He's not going to get a second Ravage off. Saw that coming. And now Lesh just pretty much kills everybody. There's literally 0 reason to push high ground on a lane that you've already gotten the racks. Absolute mistake here by them. Absolutely 0 reason. It's also very important that you kill the Lesh or stun him before he gets his ultimate off, because if you doom him and his Pulse Nova's already on, he's already doing a stupid amount of damage. It's 160 damage per second to everybody in the AoE, so they can't deal with that, and they actually don't. Well, they did have a BKB on the Huskar, but he apparently got chain stunned and didn't do anything, and the BKBs are now up for the Dire team. Now, the Dire team could have convincingly won this game. If the Troll was better at farming in the early game with the Quelling Blade and stuff like that, he could have got fast BKB, and then with that BKB, he could have just defended this Rex push. He easily could have done that. But because his BKB was delayed, it made it harder for him. So one of the most important things, I actually made a Troll video. I don't remember. I think it was a replay commentary, and it was probably like 4 months ago. But I really recommend watching that video. Well, maybe I don't recommend it, but at the very least, it was a really good demonstration of me growing as a carry player, because I got my BKB extremely fast, and we were able to use it in one of the... Oops, I'm sorry. We were able to use it in one of the earliest team fights, and because of it, I was able to take a fight to heroes that I normally wouldn't have been able to touch. Like, the fast BKB on some heroes is extremely important. On heroes like Troll Warlord and certain lineups, it's extremely important. It's really important versus the Tidehunter. It's very important versus the Huskar as well, because it prevents him from being able to Burning Spear you. Again, every time you get hit by this, that's like 160 magic damage or something like that. 20 times 4 is 80. Yeah, 160 magic damage. That is incredible amounts of damage. So, BKB is really, really important to have on a lot of heroes. Lifestealer's already got his own, so he doesn't really need to buy one necessarily for a while, but even BKB on Lesh to stop the Ravage is really big. And that's another reason that it's important not to go Refresher first, because if you go Blink first, you can oftentimes Ravage before they get BKBs off. If you just kind of run into the fight, they're going to react. Like, he's going to Ravage right now. But look at that, 2 heroes, it just did nothing to them. All it did was stun the Earthshaker. If he had a Blink Dagger, he could have waited until their BKBs weren't active, and he could have jumped in immediately. It might actually kill the Huskar here. It looks like they will. He should have used his Inner Vitality a little bit earlier. And in fact, this fight might... No, I think it's going to get turned now because the Lesh is here. The damage output will probably be a little bit too big. That's pretty much the story of this game, really. Radiant team goes into a fight. Tidehunter ravages poorly, catching maybe 2 heroes. He obviously had a really good early game. Man, this guy's actually so farmed. He's actually incredibly farmed right now. He has so many kills. I don't know if he can kill this Lesh or not. In fact, now he may end up dying. Yeah, he's gonna die now. If he would use Lightning a little bit earlier, the Earthshaker wouldn't have died there, I think. Don't like the phase boots a whole lot. I feel like you're better off either going brown boots into boots of travel for the movement speed advantage. I think that's a lot better. Phase are not very popular on most heroes right now. It's good on some heroes, but not very many. It's some occasional cores will build phase, like Wind Ranger, for example, because it buffs up her focus fire by quite a bit. So there's some cases where it's okay, but as a whole, I don't think it's a very good boot choice, especially on a mid hero. Treads are almost always better right now, I think. Alright, I had to pause for a bit there, sorry about that. And I lost my place in the replay, because I thought I paused it and it didn't, and I played all the way through. So, let's continue from here. Okay, I think oh god, is this... No, this is where they go high ground, they just fucking die again. Yeah, this looks familiar. They're all just... I remember this. I'm sorry, I thought that was it. Yeah, whatever. Let's just continue from here. Sorry if you guys have to watch anything you already watch. Alright, what was I talking about? Bloodstones. There's actually so many Bloodstone charges on Leshrac. I think Bloodstone's going to get pretty heavily nerfed in the next patch. And I think we're very close to a Dota patch, actually, and I'm ready to embrace it as well. The real question is, when are the major qualifiers? There's major qualifiers coming up for the actual major. I think the patch will probably have to hit probably before it. I think that would make more sense. Otherwise, you're just playing the same... You're qualifying on the same patch as the previous. Because I assume they're going to hit a Dota patch soon. I might be wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Not sure. But I'm definitely ready for the new patch. I saw Fierce tweet. He said, next patch, please. And I feel the same way. I'm definitely ready for a new patch. So... Item transitions for the Dire team here. Troll Warlord had a... He's got an inefficient item build, basically. He went for the fast helm of the Dominator, and he got a Black King bar early, And that's great because it gets you team fights, but the problem is that he got it so late that it was a catch-up BKB. Catch-up BKBs aren't very good. The damage you get out of this item is actually very, very low. It's only 24. For a 4,000 gold item, you can buy something that increases your farm speed by a huge amount. And that's something like a Sanju and Yasha, for example. I remember this team fight too. We've already seen all of this. I mean, it almost went so well. You know, I feel like going Ags on the Doom in this game was maybe a bit of a mistake. It's definitely a mistake. Like, Ags Doom is... It's a really good item to have. That's right, and then he dies here, I remember. But I feel like against the heroes that they have, and the heroes that they have, they need to protect themselves in the late game. Their carry is basically a Huskar. They've got a Vengora. And they've got Tide Ravage, which isn't really a carry ability. If Doom's going to go full carry build, he needs to buy damage items. And Ags is not really the way to do that, I think. Rather than getting Ags, one thing he could have done is just bought a Refresher instead. Now, Refresher right now is a really terrible damage item. It used to do 40, now it does like 20. It's a very crappy damage item. It's horrible for damage. But it does allow you to Doom 2 people in a team fight. And that's pretty valuable by itself. Very mana expensive though, 250 times 2, and Refresher is almost 500 mana, so, or it's almost 400 mana, so that's a lot of his mana pool. Maybe it's a waste there, and maybe it doesn't allow him to carry, but I feel like he's got a pretty big mana pool. He'd have about a little bit over 1k if he didn't have the Sags, so I don't know. I feel like a Refresher might be better, because if he could Doom the Leshrac and maybe like the Lifestealer, he could just kill those two heroes very, very easily. Or if he just wants to skip Refresher, he could go for Mjolnir, or pick up another item instead, something like that. But he needs to transition better in the late game, and Ags on Doom is good, but I feel like he needs a real carry item. He needs a real genuine item to transition really well here. So I think that'd work better. If you're going to smoke out a Roche, always do it in the pit instead of outside of the pit, because they will have wards here for sure, pretty much. Oh wow, Doom's going to die. BKB is unnecessary here by the Troll Warlord. It's a pretty big mistake. Is he invisible or something? He's just dead. Radiant team trying to defend now. The Ags is finally coming on Ogre, but again, this should have been earlier. That's why Tranquil Boots are so good. Look at this. It's beautiful, damn it. Vlad's online. I don't actually think I like this very much. I think this is a slight mistake. The Vlad's is kind of nice against Huskar, I guess, because it blocks a lot of damage. And it's good to have supports getting support items, but Align is a much more active hero than most supports. You do not need to get a Vlad's to make this hero good. You could buy a Force Staff, this could be a Ghost Scepter, this could be so many other things than a Vlad's. Vlad's is very much like an item you get on a support that is peeking off really hard, or a hero that doesn't have as good of snowball. Lion is not one of those. He's one of the best snowballing hard supports, or one of the best snowballing supports, and Vlad's isn't really facilitating his skills to get better in the late game. It also just doesn't cover his weak points. Yeah, it gives him 5 armor and increases his base damage, I guess, but his HP pool is still very low. His mana pool could still be higher. Like, Lion is honestly a hero that could benefit from having more and more and more mana items, especially when you get a Glimmer Cape, because that's 130 mana pool reduction. So, and with his Finger of Death at 650 mana, like, he actually does have mana problems now. So, Vlad's is definitely the wrong choice here, especially because somebody probably already has a Ring of Basilius. Nobody has a Ring of Basilius. Alright, so in this case, it's better than usual, but I still think the Vlad's is the wrong pickup. This should be a Ghost Scepter or a Force Staff. Probably a Force Staff. Let's say a Force Staff is better. The Lifesteal to Troll is actually really good, though. That's probably one of the better parts about having this. It's Lifesteal to Lifestealer, and more Lifesteal to Troll Warlord. Those two heroes are going to get a bit extra out of that. That's pretty cool. Earthshaker is stupidly farmed here. Blinkdagger, Aghanims, plus he's got a Reaver. The Reaver is kind of a cool pickup because it buffs up his Enchant Totem damage. His Enchant Totem damage is based on his primary damage attribute, which is only able to be increased, at least for Earthshaker's case, by getting strength items. So by buying the Reaver, he's increasing his HP by 500, and he's also basically quadrupling the damage that Reaver does towards his Enchant Totem. So now, by Enchant Toteming, And well, by buying this Reaver, he basically does an extra 125 physical damage. This would be a great dome. Okay, they are kind of winning this. Oh, he actually got his Mandarin. This is really nicely done by Line. The dunk was pretty bad. Okay. It kind of looks like the Radiant team's finally able to turn things around. Like, they're actually able to win fights. I think they won the fight because they went on the Lifestealer first, is kind of what it looked like. Huskar's quite strong at this point. And Doom as well is definitely farming the best out of anybody in the game. Yeah, I can tell that. His farming patterns are kind of bad, but with Midas and Devour, he's able to get a lot. So Hex on Leshrac, really good item choice, but I think in the scope of this game, it's not really the right choice. It's not that amazing versus a Huskar. It doesn't apply Break. He's gonna die here, but I think that should be a dead Lesh. He should have suicided, no reason not to. Killing Doom is not gonna happen, I don't think. I don't like the Hex. I think that's a mistake. It should be a different item. Lifestealer needs to get a Blink Dagger, and it should be basically Lifestealer just Blink, slowing the Huskar and killing the Huskar is what he should be doing. His damage is honestly not bad. It's not great, but it's good. It's really good. You're not really good. I would say good. I'd say it's good. I'll describe it as good. Good damage. But the Radiant team is able to win a team fight again. They get a second Rex. That's actually quite surprising. I thought they were going to completely throw this game based on the way things went. Ooh, a heart purchase. I actually don't like this on Huskar. I feel like a Satanic would have been better here for him to pick up. The heart's kind of cool because it gives him more strength than a Satanic would. And that's important because the way Inner Vitality works is it gives you bonus heal. Why is he so slow? What the heck is going on? Oh, I pressed negative a couple times. That's my bad. I was like, why is he running so slow? I slowed the game down, that's why. By having the heart, it gives him more regen, because Inner Vitality gives you bonus regen based on how much strength you have. 20% bonus from attribute, so that means if you get a heart, you'll get 20% of 40, which is 8 extra HP per second. If you have a Satanic, it's only giving you like 5. So it's pretty bad, I guess. It might add up to end up being something like 20 HP per second or something. And yeah, he's got more overall HP, but Satanic is definitely the better item choice here. Satanic gives half of the HP that Heart does. And Heart gives double the HP and 15 more strength. And it gives you more out of combat regen, which I guess is cool. But that's kind of a bad thing, in my opinion, because it basically means that if you're jungling, your HP is never going to be low. So it basically means that you now jungle and farm slower for the rest of the game. If you turn your armlet on, it actually, like, there's no reason not to have his armlet on, and that's kind of cool, but I feel like it's a big mistake to get Heart on Huskar. It's definitely not the item you need. You should always get a Satanic over a Heart, because the last 2 item slots that you want are pure damage, basically. You would want, like, a Daedalus or an MKB or something like that. Would be a much better option for items than having a Heart. It's cool to have tons of HP. I guess it's good versus Lesh. That's another thing you could argue. A Heart is going to protect him better against chain stunners, but I don't think this is the right item choice, and it's going to definitely limit his viability a little bit scaling into the late game. So definitely a mistake there. Let's see how things are going mid. Ags on Lifestealer is a complete mistake. I don't like this at all. He doesn't have a blink. It allows somebody else to go inside him, right? Is that what it does? God, I don't even remember. Everybody like circle jerk this right when it came out. Isn't it like he infests somebody inside of himself, and then he can infest in somebody else, and they do the damage as well? It's actually kind of good. The damage radius is freaking huge, 700, and the damage is 400. So you're basically doubling the damage that infest does to 800 AoE. That's pretty good damage, but I don't think it's worth 4,000 gold. He should get an AC instead, is what he should be purchasing. With an AC, it's going to help them killing a Huskar. It's going to help them in killing the Doombringer as well. Finally, he does have Mjolnir. I like that the Radiant team is just pushing the top lane, but they need better Observer Wards. This ward is not useful in the slightest, and this one is not really useful either. This is not where the action is going to be. The action is going to be in the jungle. Basically, this entire area here in the jungle. Anywhere in here would be a good ward. A ward here would be good for when they push high ground. Now, there we go. This ward's okay. I do believe this blocks, though. as we learned, the westernmost block camp. Basically, the spawn camp goes like all the way over here. So this will block. That's kind of nice. Not terrible. Did I hear Finger of Death? Oh, it's on that 40-second cooldown, but he definitely ulted a single creep, right? It's okay to ult creeps if you have an axe, I think. Oh, did he do it? No? Does he have axe? He doesn't. It's actually quite close. Well, I like the combo to go on Earthshaker. I think that's great. But I think Card is a mistake on Earthshaker. I don't think that's the right item build to go for him. I think he's better off getting a tactical item, maybe. Speed KB for Lesh. Alright, I think the Earthshaker, the Ogre just fed. The Tide's not double ravaging properly. He's not doing it quickly. This Basher is doing so much work. Well, the evasion helped a lot, but it's kind of weird. The Tidehunter just keeps messing up. He's not buying the right items. He needs more mana pool or a Blink Dagger. What he needs to do is he needs to wait till his arcane boots are up. He ravages, he arcanes. He refreshes, he arcanes again, and then he ravages. So, ravage, arcane, refresher, arcane, ravager. Ravage. That's the only way to make it work, and he's not doing it right. He's basically like gushing and ravaging and using refresher, and he's like, I only have 100 mana, what's wrong? It's because you rushed refresher. You can't do that. And if you do it, you have to do the arcane trick. It's the only way to make it work. Otherwise, you're just putting yourself in a terrible spot. Axe is now up, so he can. Oh, it's only 300 damage, it's not 400, so. Swallows an allied hero, allowing them to hide within him. Any healing lifesteal he receives is shared with the hero within. That's actually kind of cool. It has defensive purposes, basically. You could assimilate an ally that's dying to protect them. That's actually kind of viable. And then, while they're inside you, you can then infest a creep, pop out, which would then heal everybody. Or, the lifesteal that you get from Feast is also going to heal the person. So if somebody's about to die, you can just assimilate them. Or if they just get stunned, it's actually kind of good. I feel like this is kind of a situationally viable item. I actually like this. It's not good for damage. It doesn't give him a whole lot of HP. It gives him mana, which is kind of good. He kind of needs the mana, sort of. Int gain's only 1.75. It's kind of an alright item. It might be alright. Lifestealer's not popular though, so I don't think we'll ever see it. But it's basically like a disruption. You can think of it that way. It's basically like getting disruption on this hero. You can save an ally that's stunned. Now, the part of the problem is that he's a melee hero. He doesn't have to buy Blink Daggers, so you're kind of limited in some ways. I think they should put the Lesh in this, or the Troll. Put the Troll in here too. Do a double, and then jump out for extra damage. You can either use it for mobility to do a triple bomb, or you can use it to save an ally. And I think the save an ally part's pretty good. If somebody gets ravaged, for example, pull them in, then let them jump out as soon as they're ready, and then they can hop right out, dodge the stun, dodge the damage. It's kind of like a snowball or something like that. Wow, this damage, this attack speed's really good. Who's dying? Oh, Huskar. See, that was not the Finger of Death. Got a Veil of Discord. Again, good try with the item purchase line, but I think you're off target. This guy had really good progression in his early game with the exception of not having a wand, but both the Vlads and the Veil are a bit weird. You give him a lot of armor, I guess, which is cool, but and the stats are pretty good on Veil. And maybe this is alright, because they have a Leshrac, and Leshrac does a ton of magic damage. There's an Earthshaker as well, so the Veil helps out quite a bit. Kind of a cool choice. He does end up building Refresher, so Refresher and a brand new BKB. This guy actually farms so fast this game. Does he see? I think he's running. God, you did it wrong again. Alright, that's good. Give him that damage reduction. Just gush him, damn it. Gush him, damn it. There we go. Yeah, I don't think he should refresh. It's a pretty easy kill here. Small mistake from Ogre as well, you always use Fire Blast before Unrefined. If they're both up, you always Fire Blast first. That's because if you use Unrefined, it's a percentage of your current mana. If you can cast Fire Blast, because like... Oh, okay. So Shiva's, damn it. There we go. Alright, that's a dead hero. Alright, I think they can win now with that one. They can definitely go high ground. Man, everybody's buying so much HP. They also have 2 mechs. Okay. Ogre Magi is like, yes, mechanism. That's not gonna work. Actually, it's kind of okay now because the cooldown is so freaking long now that it can kind of work. That's good. Ravage was okay. Here comes the Echo Slam. Nope, never mind. Alright, now it's gonna come. No, the burning. Alright, this is gonna be the dunk. Here it comes. Everybody dies. Well, that was obvious. They actually could have very easily won right there if they just spread out a little bit. They like honestly couldn't stop being on a square this big, and that is such a big mistake. You can't do that. Like, just spread out. Is it that hard? Their players are not really moving very well. They're basically just zombieing straight towards opponents. Like, he actually just walked in with Earthshaker and dunked the ball with an Aghanim Scepter and did so much damage. Each hero gets it twice, so it's 140 per hero times 4, and you're doing like 1,000 damage AoE plus stunning. It's so good. But all these itemizations are just slightly too wrong, and the only reason they're kind of winning this game is because of the fact that they it's not even a really game sense. I feel like both teams' game sense are equally poor. It's more like I feel like the Dire team has better team fight. Like, the Radiant team wrecked in the early game because they had better team fight, and now the Dire team just has better team fight. Ever since the mid game, since they threw a couple of those fights. I think that was the wrong hero. He should have doomed Leshrac. Definitely should have been on Leshrac instead. Did he sell his Blink Dagger? I feel like he sold his Blink Dagger. This heart really helps a lot against Doom, though. So he has so much more HP to work with. But I feel like it's a mistake not to have Blink. I think you really need to have a Blink Dagger on Doom. It's not something you can give up. It's working this game because his opponents are letting them initiate, but he shouldn't be getting these initiations. Very small gold change, not much. Refreshers up in 40. Like, they really just need to get one more barracks down, and then they win the game no matter what. AC still being built on Tidehunter, but again, he just needs a little bit of a mana pool. Anything new? Solar Crest. Ogre again going way too far up. Yo, he just keeps getting bashed constantly. Holy shit, the damage. Okay. They haven't even used their items yet. Okay. I think he's dead. Like, it's such a weird game. That was good. Alright.
That was no shock.
Wait, he's actually just trying to... Wow, he got so bashed. I mean, he shouldn't have been trying. There's no reason to all in on a throne like that. A throne tower, not worth trading your life. This would be a massive gold swing. Well, that was just one kill, but... if they were just a little bit better tactically, they could easily win this game. But they kind of just keep doing stupid run at them things, and their opponents are just beating them. Like, Ogre consistently runs into melee range and just dies. You need some survivability item when you play Ogre. Like, you can't just say, like, I'm naturally tanky, I'm going to buy Bloodstone and Eggs and be really high HP. That doesn't matter. You need a Force Staff, you need a Ghost Scepter, you need a Glimmer Cape, you need a Blink. You need something like that to stay alive as Ogre. You can't just buy these items. I mean, he could, but his positioning is so bad as him as a player. He consistently walks out of position. He needs to sit back. He needs to throw Ignites. He needs to cast Bloodlust on his Huskar and his Doombringer. And then after that, all he needs to do is cast stuns whenever they're off cooldown. It's that simple. Like, he could literally be casting blood rage on himself or bloodlust the whole time, and he just never does it. Like, that is literally all it takes to get out of this MMR bracket, is to not completely run out of position and to cast their spells like when they're off cooldown and it's the right time to use them. Like, that is literally it. They could definitely kill this guy. That is definitely one of the things that 2K players have trouble with as a whole. They literally don't cast their spells at appropriate times. Like, they actually don't use their abilities half the time. They'll miss cooldowns. They'll be like, oh, I forgot I had a mech, or oh, I forgot to use my blink dagger, or oh, I didn't activate my BKB in time. All that stuff makes such a big difference. Alright, so I think we're going to stagnate a little bit until the Doomer gets alive. He is now alive. Plate mail now on Ogre. Like, he's buying all these really expensive, cool items, and that's really good and all, but he needs something that does something. Bloodstone just doesn't do that much for Ogre Magi. It refills his mana pool, but that's about it. In most cases, you're better off getting like a Hex, I would think, over a Bloodstone on Ogre Magi. I think that would be better. Even something like a Yules would be good. You can Yules yourself if somebody's about to kill you. You can Yules a Lifestealer before he rages after he uses Open Wounds. That's a cool option as well. Comes the TP. Oh, we should probably slow down, huh? Ravage. I don't like that Doom. Decent swap. Echo Slam was poor. Oh, nice. He got a second Ravage. This actually looks really good for the Radiant team. Alright, so they got Troll. He should have doomed the Lesh, though. Alright, they killed Lesh. I don't think they can beat the Lifestealer. Oh, they can with Huskar, actually. They just need to keep this guy alive. Keep him alive! Keep him alive! Throw your stun! Venge, throw your stun! It's been off cooldown for 2 seconds! Do anything! What a bunch of ditchers! They well, that was just poor play. But that's 2K, I guess. People just don't use their abilities, so that's pretty much it. Good game? What do you mean good game? Oh. Oh! Oh! Huh? Go Catapult. Catapult. 115? Catapult? Oh. Okay. Alright. Not over yet. Really close though. That would have been a good time to throw your life away to take the throne. Can we deny the ancient? No. You cannot. There's literally no reason to deny your ancient. Unless you're trying to ruin your team's game. Buying wards is a really good idea. I like that. Hex on Earthshaker. I think this is really good. It gives him 10 strength, which translates to his enchant totem. That's pretty cool. Gives him another disable against the Huskar. Troll's really underfarmed. He should have more items than this. He should have like a Sanjin Yasha or a Scotty, one of those two. Alright, they're all just kind of dying now. Ogre again, just kind of dying. I mean, he's hard to kill, but like, that's pretty much it. All I'm thinking about is like things to point out about each MMR levels. I'm like, if you have like a different range of players, 1K players, 2K players, 3K players, 4K players, 5K players, what are things that you guys need to work on? Wonder how easy this would be to do. I feel like having a database would make it easier. Items being purchased, who's this for? Oh, Aghanim Scepter. I actually like Ags on Lesh. I feel like more players should build it. But the problem is that most of the time there's always an item that's just a little bit better. It basically it gives you survivability. Like an Octarine is probably superior. But it does increase his damage by 80. It's pretty big. It's essentially like a level 2 ult upgrade. Yeah. It's like getting 2 more points in your ult. Kind of, because they changed the scaling. The level 1 Pulse Nova does way more damage than it used to. Before, it used to scale pretty directly. Now it's basically like... I mean, it's a big damage increase, though. I feel like it's almost a good item, but Octarine is definitely better. Because Octarine is more expensive, so it's more slot efficient. And Octarine gives you way more mana pool. 25 int, 400 mana, whereas this gives you like 350 mana. So Octarine, plus it increases your right-click damage by 25. And it gives you mana regen. Octarine is just far superior, basically. It doesn't matter that Ags gives you more damage. I don't know why Tide is here. Alright. Okay. Okay. He should have Scorched Earth. He should be Scorched Earth this whole time. Scorched Earth! Scorched Earth! Scorched Earth, damn it. Now he uses it. That's one of the best abilities used before you rearm. AK Refresher. Alright, he's dead now. Alright. I mean, I feel like... Alright, he's making Satanic now. I think at this point Husk should have an MKB, probably, because they have some evasion items, right? He could have built the Solar Crest as well online, that would have been alright. Because nobody else has one on their team. I think Huskar does, but I don't think he's been using it. You do have to use it offensively sometimes. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to watch the Radiant team farm for a little bit here. As both teams do their best to push. Like a Heart on Venge, it's just not the item. This could be an Ags. Ags would be cool. This could be a Blink Dagger. This could be a Solar Crest. Solar Crest is great on Venge. They should definitely have a Solar Crest. It's really good versus Lifestealer. It's really good versus Troll. Very good versus Lesh. Ravage? He may just die. He'll get Ravage off. They're hitting it. It's glyphed. Do it, Huskar. Your damage is so mediocre. I think that's the dead hero. I mean, if Doom just kind of hangs out, I guess they're not going to die. Might die eventually. Guess not. This actually looks really bad for Doom. They just have too many good disables. They have so many good disabling heroes. Like, the Huskar's items just suck, honestly. He has all this HP, but his damage is really bad. Even Solar Crest, like, Black King Bar doesn't give him much damage. Solar Crest gives him pretty much no damage. Satanic gives him almost no damage. Heart gives him almost no damage. The only way Huskar does damage right now is Burning Spears. And he needed to transition into physical. Because in the late game, magic damage usually peaks off. Unless you're Leshrac, then it's pretty much always good. So that was a pretty bad mistake in my opinion. Builds are so big. Like, people kind of know what they're supposed to be building at this level, but they're not doing it perfectly efficiently. That's another thing to point out. They're off target a little bit. They're building things that aren't perfect. They could get more efficiency. Like, why buy a Bloodstone when he could have just gotten like a Soul Ring or something? If he had a Force Staff right now, he'd live. He'd be alive. If he had a Glimmer Cape, he'd be alive right now. Instead, he's gonna die. Okay. Alright, bad timing on that. It kind of just looks like the game's over to me. Yeah, this is looking like a GG to me. So Dire team will win this one. I think. Well, if he can kill this guy, it'll help a lot. Okay, he's gonna die. Oh, there's gonna be 2 deaths. He doesn't have buyback too. Oh, he does. Okay. But he doesn't have any more spells. These guys should spread out. It's dangerous to group. And then he just dies. Look at this attack speed. He's actually so countered, the Huskar. His damage is so bad. It does nothing. What the heck? Alright, well... It's very frustrating to watch this game because both teams could do so much with their characters and their builds if they just adjusted their items and their skill builds. I mean, the skill builds were fine this game, I think. The item builds were so bad. Consistently across the board, the item builds were so bad. Like, it is actually massive, the difference in the item builds that they made this game compared to something that I do. Or any other player at above 5k. It makes such a big difference. The supports in the early game didn't have very much efficiency. The Tidehunter basically had all these items, but they were never valuable to him. He was not getting value out of them, and that's another important thing. You have to be able to get value out of your items, otherwise it's not good. Like, yeah, Huskar got a heart, but the value wasn't there. It gave him HP, but it barely increased his damage. It only gives him 40 damage increase. He sold his armlet, apparently. I don't know when that happened, but that's a mistake completely. That is one of the best items you can have for damage. His armlet was the biggest damage item he had the entire game, actually. It does more damage than heart does, by far, for a Huskar. Armlet does way more damage. And that, like, they basically had no damage output. They didn't transition their items. They had such a big advantage. They got a 26-minute Rax. Even with them getting 5-man wiped, they could have easily still won. They just had to transition their item builds going into the late game. The Tidehunter needed to get a Blink Dagger after the refresher, and he needed to buy a Mango or a Magic Wand or something that gave him burst mana. That way he could do a double Ravage. And then he needed to use a Blink to get the double Ravage off. The Vengeful Spirit bought a mech, whatever. But then he bought a Vitality Booster and he sat on that forever. And he bought a Reaver and sat on that forever. I don't remember if he had a Vitality Booster. Maybe I'm wrong. But he could have done so much with that 3,000 gold. That could have been a Glimmer Cape. That could have been a Solar Crest. Solar Crest would have been amazing. He could have put more armor and more evasion on Huskar. Like, nobody even had Monkey King bars on the Dire team. If he just put that on the Huskar just wouldn't have died. If the Huskar had Satanic with Armlet and then bought like a Solar Crest of his own, he would have been invulnerable. I don't know. Item builds are really big. You have to make sure that you keep the perfect curve of power and damage and DPS, and you understand the weaknesses of your heroes and where Huskar is going to peak off and stop being useful and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to do no, actually I can't do a stream tomorrow. I have a family thing to go on tomorrow. But I will see you guys again soon. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.